that's actually something that comes up in the thing about the conspiracy later. So like the main group that we're going to talk about, these like rebels, they are pretty much labeled throughout history as like these communist groups only because America opposed them during like the Cold War. So like anybody that wasn't with us,
they're communists.
Exactly.
Just like now, if you're not with us, you're a terrorist.
And so like there's no proof that any of these people were actually associated with the Soviets in any way. But anywhere you look it up, they literally will put little like Soviet like symbols on their
Photoshop it.
Yeah. Or like it's like if it's like an animation explaining things, they'll make them all like red, and it's crazy how it's just because we've labeled it that way. That's how it is. Remembered. That is crazy sauce.
I mean, it's like I don't know.
Well, luckily they're not creating something like a Ministry of Truth or anything.
Luckily they haven't done anything like that.
They haven't decided what is reality.
They haven't made up terms like malinformation, which is the truth, but it just isn't good for the public to know.
Cheap fake.
Yeah, cheap fake. Oh my god, dude, I hate that so much. It's such bullshit. I know.
All right, I'm gonna set the table. Set the table, dude. So obviously, I can't go through the years and years and years and years of the Philippines and the American conflicts, because they've had relationships, I think, since the 1800s.
That's why there's so many Mexicans over there.
That's what happened. We export so much.
We do
more than we import.
Oh yeah.
I guess maybe not at that time, but so the Philippines is a very heavily important strategic location.
Okay,
it's right near all of Asia, while being like a port country. So like it's strategically probably one of the most important spots to be as the Japanese. So
like because you need to bring in your military, but also trading.
Exactly, and it's a ton of resources, ton of people. So we're gonna start. I'm gonna start by saying this is all real.
Of course it is.
This has been reported by journalists.
I don't think we've ever done anything on this podcast that wasn't real.
But I got the references. I mean, there's like
cited sources.
These are U.S. documents that have come out about this, so it's not like I'm making up baloney here.
Before I just got reminded of this because of you said you cited your sources. I watched a little thing about he's a bad guy, but I watched Tucker Carlson yesterday.
Bad boy summer.
Bad guy, not a good guy.
Bad boy summer.
Bad boy summer. Tucker Summer. He was in Australia, right? And this lady talked to him about like the Great Replacement theory.
Okay.
And she was like, "You have said specifically that they want to replace whites with like."
Oh, she's like pushing him on it.
Yeah. Okay. You said it over 4,000 times on your show.
Oh my god!
And he said, "Cite your sources. Show me now." Because I've never said that. And it was like this whole... And then he called her stupid. He was like, I thought them...
This is on his show?
No, this is at like a conference thing.
Okay, I was going to say, you can't do that to a guest.
Yeah, he was like, I thought that like the American media was dumb and I'd come here and it would at least be the same or better. And actually, I think it's worse now. I think it's way worse than America.
In Australia?
Because she kept just asking like questions. Like she's like, do you take responsibility for gun violence when you push... And he was like, what are you fucking talking about?
And then he giggled and went,
yeah, exactly what he did. You're kind of dumb. You're actually stupid.
It's so funny how he's like, when somebody says something that he finds somewhat like edgy, it like tickles him. Like he's not. It's like someone poked him in the ribs. He's like, oh,
he's like an old grandma that likes dirty jokes. All right, let's stop fanboying.
It's bad boy summer, dude.
It's bad boy summer. We can watch Tucker.
All right, so this takes place in post World War II.
Post World War II. So no more. I don't know, Nazis. I guess there's probably some Nazis involved.
So during, it's actually really the Japanese, because it's so close. So during World War II, the Philippines was occupied by the Japanese.
They were doing that.
Yeah,
fucking some people up.
Well, then we, right after World War II, were like, actually, that was a pretty good idea. That spot's pretty sweet.
Actually, we're gonna do the same.
We didn't like how you guys did it. We're about to do it
better,
way crazier.
Watch the originals.
We were called the colony for a reason.
Yeah.
All right, so we need power, and we need to combat all forms of communism at this time.
Because it's all bad.
So the U.S. begins occupying, quote unquote, commandeering is the way they put it. Countries just like the Philippines.
Do you want to know how I know what commandeering means?
How?
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Well, that's actually kind of not far from this era.
Yeah.
Right? It's like
because they
definitely people on
commandeered
boats.
a ship.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they took it over. That's how I know what that word is. Sorry.
That was the first time you heard it?
Yeah, probably.
Damn.
Yeah.
Where do you think it comes from? Commandeering?
Command.
Dude, this is my deer. If you just want it, it's like a common one. You can fuck my chick.
Yeah.
This is my commandeer.
It has.
Instead of everybody's girl, they just call her commandeer.
Man.
All right. So we begin doing all this to multiple countries, and the Philippines is one of them.
Yeah.
Early, when we start going in, there's like a rebel group. There's like a civil war going on in the Philippines right now because half of them sided with the Japanese and half of them opposed the Japanese. So all this really starts in like the 1950s when the United States decides to send out Lieutenant Edward Lansdale. Okay. And he was sent there to calm things down with all means necessary.
I feel like it's not going to be very calm when you use the term any means necessary.
Isn't that insane? That was really what he was told.
Right.
It was like, whatever it takes. Yeah. Just make things calmer.
Chill it out.
Yeah.
Bring the volume down.
So because it's like these rebels are all like guerrilla armies. Yeah, they're in the mountains. They're in the jungles. A lot of them are like farmers and shit like that.
Yeah.
Direct warfare doesn't work, which we didn't learn that ever.
No. We fucking...
Literally right after this, we go to Vietnam and then have the same problem.
Guys.
We were?
Yeah, in the Revolutionary War.
Yeah, but that's not how you win.
Right,
or we did win.
Well, it's the one we've won.
I guess so. Yeah, I think
we've lost just about every other one since then.
We're not good.
No, we won World War II. The Russians had nothing to do with it. Sorry.
So, I know we are definitely back-to-back World War champs.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Fuck Russia, dude. What did they do?
Yeah, what do they even do? That guy has an American boxing helmet on.
They also all have
their tapes hand together.
Oh, I didn't see that. And they're cooking hot dogs.
It's crazy. Yeah. This show is the best. But all right, back to the Philippines. So because you can't do guerrilla warfare, this guy goes in and literally thinks like, we can only do this through PSYOP.
Right.
We can't beat them on the ground. So yeah, we got to beat them at their own shit. And this is where like the juicy shit starts happening.
Okay.
So during World War II, then when the Japanese took the Philippines, the rebel group that was like created, because they were taking literally everything from like, they were taking farm shit, resources, women, children, anything. They were commandeering, communist-endearing.
Whoa, it's all a root word, dude.
So the rebel freedom fighters begin popping up, and I'm going to try to pronounce it, but they're called the Hukbalahpop.
I'm sure that's how you say it. Yeah. The Hukbalahpop.
They pretty much go by the Huck Rebels.
The Hukla Rebels.
Huck Rebels.
Huck Rebels.
Because it's an acronym.
Okay.
For literally, so the acronym for Huck in Filipino, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
It translates exactly to let me find it because I wrote this. People's Anti-Japanese Army.
Sick.
Because the Japanese were fucking them up.
Right.
So that's what they originally started as, is like, we're going to defend against the Japanese fucking us up.
Yeah.
And we ended up allying with them to beat the Japanese out.
Of course.
After World War II. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We teamed up with the rebels. Isn't this crazy, dude?
Yeah.
That's why I thought you would find this kind of juicy.
Yeah.
So when we took over We just pretty much made.
I can't read it, dude. It's fucking made me laugh. I don't know why.
When we took over the Philippines, we pretty much put the same people who were in charge when the Japanese were in charge, just there still. We pretty much kept the same manager.
Like the same Japanese people?
The same Filipino people that worked with the Japanese.
Oh, that doesn't work.
Exactly. Yeah. So that kind of kept
change lower management.
At 100%, especially when the employees are not happy.
Yeah.
You know what? Nobody in the store was enjoying their
Nobody
time.
at the grow wanted to be there anymore.
And so they had to change over, and they just put the same shitty boss in.
Yeah.
And so people were not happy about that. That's when things start getting violent again.
Okay.
So we were cool with them because we worked with them,
right.
But then we pretty much put their enemies in charge again. So things started getting kooky, and we had to quell the violence.
We're really good at
They also changed their name now that the Japanese are no longer ruling them.
Anti-American now?
No, but kind of. They were the People Liberation Party.
I like that.
I mean, not bad, right?
It's a nice
PLP.
name. Yeah.
The Polyp.
The Polyp, dude.
Pulp Party.
Yep.
All right. Next page. So in 1949, the estimated group of this rebel, like the numbers of this rebel group, are about 11,000 to 15,000.
Okay.
So a decent amount of people.
Yeah. They can get shit done.
Yeah. And how I explained, they pretty much were just completely miswritten as communists, even though they were just they were just fighting against the Americans.
They were anti-colonization.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how they're written down. So the government started, whenever people would do a crime that was really fucked up, they would just put it as this rebel group.
BLP.
Yes, exactly. They would label it in like newspapers, and they would spread rumors that like, well, it was actually probably these people.
That's propaganda 101 right there.
And then they would literally do crimes.
I blame them.
Yeah, exactly. So they specifically, what sucked was the government wasn't helping the people.
Yeah.
And then the people who were fighting against the government were being very bad as well.
Yeah.
So that's when
Daddy America.
That's really when we do start to step in.
Fuck.
Yeah. And we really wanted that location. So they sent Lansdale, dude. Now, Lansdale literally wrote a book on PSYOPs and how they were done.
Okay.
He was one of the founding members of the CIA.
Okay, word.
He was a part of the OSS.
Yeah.
Which was what later became
CIA.
The CIA.
Yeah.
OSS standing for the Office of Strategic Services.
Yeah.
Which they were just pretty much doing that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
And he literally had a background. His job before working for the OSS was advertising. He was a successful advertiser in California. And so he was like a master at learning how people think and how to, yeah, exactly. So when he gets to the Philippines, he creates the Civil Affairs Office. And that's how he starts working with the local leaders and him. So he starts like setting up base and pretty much bringing people in and being like, so like, how do you guys work here? What's going on? And he gets like a big intel and he figures out what makes the Filipinos tick. And he says, after a month of research or whatever, after meeting with a bunch of the leaders, the first thing he said was like, a direct quote is, the best way to take over people is to use their own beliefs against them.
Yeah.
So that's when he pretty much finds out that the Filipino people are super sus. They're into superstitions.
Yeah, so you're a lot of superstitious, yeah.
They really believe in all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so he's like, well,
we're going to use this against them.
We're about to create God.
Oh my gosh.
And the very first thing they did was they flew an airplane with a large speaker attached to it over throughout the mountains.
Yeah.
Which I can't imagine they normally see that many airplanes. Maybe they do, I guess. But this is the 50s. I mean, it's super early.
Yeah.
So they're flying airplanes throughout the mountain areas with speakers attached. And it is giving curses in the native language that if you help the rebels, your family will be cursed.
Holy shit.
Yeah, they called it like they had a name for it too.
That's evil, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it said anybody that collaborates or has family or your family will be cursed if you help the rebels.
Think about how much of a mind fuck that would be. Like if you didn't know what a plane was and you didn't know like,
and you just hear the curses.
Still like, I mean, I don't know what kind
coming from the sky.
I would imagine they weren't at that time like too technologically advanced.
I don't think anybody was in the 50s.
Right.
I could be wrong, but
I mean, at least that area. I mean, there's probably parts of it where it was richer.
That's why they specifically went to the mountains where those farmers were, where the rebels were these people that aren't in the major cities.
Yeah, dude.
So they're flying a plane and it's cursing all these people. Literally within the next week, multiple of the Huck rebels have to start turning themselves in because they're starving to death because nobody will help them.
Yeah, see,
they're being turned away from every house they were staying in.
Yeah,
and this is move number one.
Yeah, well, that's what Michael Malice talks about. How leaders can be evil.
Yeah,
sure, with the things that they do can be evil, but the real evil is when your neighbor is like, "I'm going to tell on you."
Yes,
or I'm going to hurt you because I know what you're doing. And that gives me power.
And what you're doing is cursing my family.
Right.
The worst thing you can do, really.
Yeah.
Generational.
So the minute you turn people against each other, whoever wants to have power already has it.
Yes. Yeah. And assisting the others is actually going to hurt you.
Yeah.
100%. So, number two, their second move was they called it God's Eye.
Okay.
So they would meet with people, and once people turn themselves in, they can find out what people are still being housed at and where they can find other rebels. Yeah. And they would go to those houses and spray paint eyes outside of their houses at night. And there's photos of it where their houses are just covered with these large giant eyes, and families would just wake up and in the middle of the night see all of these eyes, things on their house, and they're like, oh my God, they found us.
Yeah.
So that worked.
That's fucking.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, dude.
And these are just because we don't want these rebels to be stirring shit up. They don't want us to be fighting us.
Right.
So we're trying to.
Even though we probably train them
in some other country.
Yeah.
We have no reason to. Okay, so this is all this one guy too. He's literally
Lansdale, right?
Lansdale, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So now, vampire time.
Vampires. That's
so
what I've been waiting for.
There's this mountain that they can't get to because it's a fucking strategic fortress.
Yeah.
Being on the top of the mountain, they just can't get up it.
Right.
And they've been surveying it, and they find out that their last patrol every single night is always one guy. So they know how freaked out everybody is by this urban legend, and this is where the vampire comes in.
Okay.
So I'll see what it's written as. It's called a Oswong.
Okay.
It's not exactly a vampire because it for instance, it looks totally different.
It's like a cryptid kind of thing?
Yeah. Okay. It's their vampire. It's the closest thing you can compare it to.
Yeah.
But what they do is they have a long tongue. So they could go from the outside of a house and stick their tongue all the way through the house and
oh my God.
Suck your blood out.
I've met a couple of those.
It's also a word for zombies or witches or demons.
What is it again?
An Oswong.
An Oswong.
And so what they first do is they go to the villages around the mountain.
Yeah.
And they have people say holy shit, I think I saw an Oswong last night.
Yeah.
And within days,
all
around the town terrified. Is seeing them.
Oh no!
Without even anybody doing anything yet,
that's how it works.
Exactly, it really is.
Yeah.
And then they find that they wait for a few days to let the rumors start to spread, and then what they do is they go to that one patrol guy. They find that one guy because they know they can't take over the fort but they can take him.
Yeah.
And so they take him. They use, quote unquote, a device and poke 2 holes in his neck, hang him upside down by his ankles, and drain him of blood.
Holy
then they
shit.
take the body
And
that
put it
they
like
just
this.
murdered, a person,
Yeah.
right? That they drained of blood, and they leave him where they took him off of the trail.
Yeah.
And within the next day,
Everyone
the
thinks
entire
Ashwan
mountain's
did it.
empty. Now,
Holy shit.
they 100% did this. This
Yeah.
isn't even like fabricated at all. It's U.S. document
classified information.
that was classified for a long time, but we'll get into why actually, so how this connects to JFK. So,
Okay. Oh my God.
so what I did hear also somebody point out is like, say you're suspicious of a Oswong and you believe in these kinds of things,
Yeah.
regardless of whether you do or don't, you see a body drained of blood on the you're freaked, you're leaving.
There's
you know what I
Ashwan.
mean?
Yeah.
Or even just somebody just took this body, hung it upside down,
True.
and drained it.
That's terrifying too.
Yes.
Actually.
Yeah. And if there's rumors of even like the U.S. government being around and you just see this happen to your buddy, you're like, I think we're out of here.
Yeah. Holy
Let's
fuck.
roll. They're now on to draining us of our blood.
Yeah.
They are insane. So it works. It completely clears them out.
Yeah.
And when it worked, he pretty much from there got to do more and more and more.
Mm-hmm.
So like they trusted that his psyop thing worked. He got to do a radio station, and he created like pretty much the most popular, probably the only radio station kind of available kind of thing.
Yeah.
He did hiring his own employees, like specifically even government employees that would do crimes and then claim to be the Hucks.
CPL or whatever.
Yeah,
It is.
to be the
PLP.
the rebels. And that's when they finally decided it's time to own the president.
Yeah.
And they pretty much went to a guy and they were like, hey, you should run for president.
In the Philippines.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was like if everybody else was throwing the game because they literally had to, because the CIA smeared everybody else, but he won with a overwhelming victory. And he pretty much was the CIA's puppet, to the point where every speech he gave was 100% written by the CIA. This
Holy
guy,
shit.
Lansdale.
It's kind of like what just happened in Mexico. The lady who won the election in Mexico, like 26 other candidates got assassinated by the cartel.
No shit.
Yeah.
It's super. So what they would do, one of the ways that they would smear people was that they would dose the opponents during speeches.
Make them that. Dude.
So publicly they'd be like,
that's crazy.
And they were like completely caught doing this.
Right.
And they wrote every speech to this guy. So to the point where he gave only one speech in his entire years or service as president. He gave one that was his own, that wasn't written.
Yeah.
Lansdale got so mad, he beat the guy to where he was knocked out.
The president.
And he
Holy
gave
shit.
one speech.
And there was this Lansdale, I can't remember, was he was like what was
Lieutenant.
a lieutenant? Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But he was sent to do this. This was what his job was, was to pretty
keep
much own
everything
this.
Chill.
And they stepped for 1 second outside of the box.
Did
and he
say anything
literally
bad,
knocked
or-
him out.
Yeah. Did he say anything bad like in a
I don't think so. It was just that he did it without our hand in that pie, us controlling it.
Fuck.
Yeah. So he dies at some point, and they do another election. Obviously, they completely have a guy that they choose.
Yeah.
And one of the ways that they smear the opponent, this is where condoms comes in.
Okay.
So this is one of the weirdest things that the CIA has done.
Yeah.
But they did, where they'd put condoms around the city, and they poked holes in them.
Yeah.
And wrote, "You're welcome" from the opponent's name.
Yeah.
As if his whole thing was making that people get pregnant.
Yeah.
But it was such a weird.
That's very weird.
Super weird. And it worked. I mean, they definitely still got their guy in.
Yeah.
And the day he got elected, he messaged Eisenhower, quote, "I will do whatever the USA wants."
Nice. That's a good guy. That's the kind of guy we need. Holy shit.
And during that election, the CIA, right, on that day, they had guns stashed all around the city. So if their guy didn't win,
they were going to
stage a coup.
Oh my gosh.
They literally had the guns weren't even illegal in that country.
Yeah.
Like they brought in guns and just hid them around waiting in case. How insane is that?
Hey, they say our government isn't efficient. I don't know if that's true.
He ends up going to Vietnam.
Yeah. Lansdale?
Lansdale.
He didn't do so good there.
That's actually what... So he goes to Lansdale, and then he's given Operation Mongoose.
He goes to Vietnam.
But
Lansdale
also...
goes to Vietnam.
Yeah. Okay. And he loses.
Yeah,
he does awful.
Yeah,
and then he's also, after that, he's sent to...
is that Cuba?
Cuba. Yeah. Operation Mongoose, which is killing Fidel Castro.
Yeah.
Obviously failed at that.
Dude, I just watched a video about how many times they tried to assassinate him.
Yeah, it didn't work.
Dude, one time, so they obviously, like the dosing thing, they tried to get him with cigars that had acid in them.
Yeah.
But also they sent like an ex-girlfriend of his to kill him. And
that's a wicked thing to do, dude.
Dude, listen to this, dude. So she had a gun and everything, dude. And she did an interview about how like she talked with him all night, and she went to go spend the night at his house.
Yeah.
And they were gonna whatever. And she talks about how like at one point like he had fallen asleep and she got up and she was gonna and he woke up. He woke up and he's like, so are you working for the CIA? And she said yes. And then like they had this whole conversation where he just asked her all these questions calmly. And
he was just super cool and collected.
Yeah. And then he took the gun from her and they made love one more time.
This is a romance novel, dude.
And she left in the morning without assassinating him.
He castroed a spell on her?
He castroed a spell on her, dude.
That's to the point where
a pimp, dude.
Yeah. That is hot.
Yeah.
To have a woman come in with a gun and then your body and your lovemaking changes her mind.
Yeah.
And she goes against the United States government, the biggest bad boy.
Yeah. There's no way Trudeau is his son, dude. He has none of that riz.
That's heavy.
That's the heaviest.
Wow.
What a guy.
Yeah.
I might become a communist.
My pants have a Cuban Missile Crisis going on right now, dude.
I get it.
Was she a babe? I bet she was.
She probably was a babe. Dude.
Guantanamo babe.
Yeah, Guantanamo. Yeah, that's just crazy, dude.
Or was this room more of like a bay? Was she like a bay of pigs?
I didn't see a picture of her.
Well, that's pretty important.
Yeah. I mean, Fidel was down, so that's all we need to know.
True. Communist.
He was a communist, for sure.
So he fails.
Yeah.
He fails Vietnam. He fails Cuba.
Yeah.
Guess who fires him?
JFK. So do you think he killed JFK?
He was always connected constantly to the CIA while then being removed.
Right. I mean, it's possible, dude.
It's
Lansdale, right?
Yeah.
I've definitely heard that name before.
It's crazy. Well, he was he was the PSYOP guy.
Right.
That really was his whole role.
Yeah.
And he wrote books on it.
Yeah.
He was like, this is how you control people.
Right.
Which is crazy.
I'm going to have to read those.
Yeah. Well, dude, what did you think? That was the story
crazy.
of
I never knew that.
The vampires in the Philippines.
It's crazy like when you actually hear how deep they go to like psychologically fucking with people.
Yes, exactly.
Just to fucking have a strategic location against China.
So far away.
Right.
Well, at this point I think it was Japan. But yeah.
Oh yeah, right. Japan, sorry. I mean, same.
Same as my favorite Chinese restaurant.
Me too, dude. That is crazy, dude.
I think using something as insane as, obviously rumors is one thing, but to really like stage a vampire killing.
Just shows, and
this is what they admitted to us.
Right.
Imagine what kind of shit goes on and like.
Well, imagine what shit they're doing to us, dude. I mean.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The things that they won't admit.
Yeah.
Have you heard about the cheese?
The cheese?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that's going to be the next one
All
I do.
Hell yeah.
The big cheese conspiracy.
I'll have to not look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like the government that we see, and I think it's like that for a reason, because like whenever you talk about shit like this,
the image,
like a conspiracy theory, people will say like when you talk about like how
series of conspiracies of unfortunate events,
but like when you're like breaking it down, like how you think like 9/11, like they would have done 9/11 or like anything like that, like people's
fluoride in the water.
Yeah, a lot of people's first response would be like, our government's not that efficient enough to do these kind of things.
Yes, they give them too much credit for ignorance.
And I think they make our government, like they make the people we see, they make them look inefficient, because the people who make those decisions to, hey, we're gonna fake a demon killing somebody, guess what? They don't get elected. They're just there for 60 years until they die.
Doing shit like this.
And they go,
this is how they rise through the ranks.
And the guy fails miserably twice, you know what I mean? Like miserably, and then gets to go do another thing. And guess what? We don't get to vote for him. You know what I mean? Like, right, so
but he's still not only led but represented the United States in such a crazy way.
Yeah.
And we call this rebel group the arm of the Soviets. They're literally labeled as.
They probably have no idea what Soviet Russia is. No clue. They think Ashwans are real.
Yeah, literally, it's farmers. Like it's literally like
snow. They don't know that Russia's a thing.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And we just completely use their own folklore to confuse them. And in Vietnam, he did do something with ghosts where he tried to convince people that ghosts were real.
Yeah.
Where he like had people that were recorded in Vietnamese saying things like,
they put like speakers in the trees and shit.
I'm coming back because I fought against the United States and now I'm sent as a ghost forever. And it was just, in speakers that they would pump through the jungle. That's what we spend our time doing.
That's fucking crazy.
And that was so long ago, dude.
Yeah.
That's when speakers were
imagine
like.
What they can do now.
Oh my God. With JBL speakers?
Man.
They hack into like.
With just sound waves.